The sun comes up on America. Across open fields, small towns, and city streets, a new day begins. And here, we rise with it. This is where hard work meets headlines, where truth matters, and America wakes up informed.
An interesting week.
They all are.
This is your country. This is your morning. This is Daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. America, let's do it together.
Love you, Ivy.
Love you too.
And it starts right now.
All right, let's get into it as we kick off another brand new day, another brand new week here on the program. Glad to have you on board. Three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, construction on the White House ballroom back underway after a three-judge panel at the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals threw out an injunction from a lower judge moving the $400 million project forward again. Number two, the anger is still spreading from the Eric Swalwell scandal, with many Americans calling on Congress to end the secrecy of the escapades of members there. It's time to make it end. And number three, the ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran is set to expire on Wednesday, and the news cycle seems to change every 12 hours or less on whether or not the U.S. is making any progress with Iran on the peace deal. One day it's on, by noon it's off again. Things faring a little better between Israel and Lebanon. They are doing better with a 10-day ceasefire in effect between the two countries. Donald Trump posted to Truth Social that Israel is prohibited from dropping any more bombs on Lebanon, saying that enough is enough. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that the two countries are on a road to peace, having delivered several devastating blows to Hezbollah forces inside Lebanon. Netanyahu says close to 90% of Hezbollah's rocket arsenal has been destroyed, but that Israel retains its right to defend itself against the Iranian-backed group. And I don't know if resupplies are coming from Iran to Hezbollah anymore, or if that has been cut off. The head of the snake, Iran, still has yet to come to the table with a meaningful peace deal. The question today is the same one I've had for days now. Who's actually in charge of Iran right now at this hour? Who's in charge? President Trump stated over the weekend that Iran is coming to terms with suspending its nuclear program in exchange for $0, by the way, which would be a much stronger deal than the U.S. has made under Presidents Joe Biden and Barack Obama. But here's the problem. At one point, the diplomats say we have a deal, then the IRGC says we do not, because Iran keeps proving just how fickle and untrustworthy it really is. By firing on ships in the Strait of Hormuz just over the last 24 hours, after declaring it open. India filing formal complaints because it was their ships targeted first. India, they have nothing to do with this. Trump says the talks are going well, but he won't allow Iran to blackmail the United States or, in his words, get cute. Here it is.
We have very good conversations going on. It's working out very well. They got a little cute, as they have been doing for 47 years. And nobody ever took them on. We took them on. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. They have no leaders. They have no nothing. Actually, their leaders are, it is regime change. You call that enforced regime change. But we're talking to them. They wanted to close up the strait again, you know, as they've been doing for years. And they can't blackmail us. In fact, a lot of the ships are coming up to Texas. I don't know if you know, in Louisiana, the ships are coming up. They got used to it. Maybe they'll keep doing it. It's worked out pretty good. But it's going actually along very well. And we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Iran has proven itself to be an incredibly dishonest negotiating partner, which is why nearly every previous president has been happy to wipe their hands of the matter and sign a deal that allowed Iran to continue on a path to nuclear weapons. Trump is committed to undertaking something more permanent and says he's going to reach a deal one way or another. Here he is again.
If we sign the agreement, then I can give you time somewhere after the signing of the agreement.
And
we'll go in with Iran. We'll go in with Iran, and we will take it together, and we will bring it back, 100% of it, back to the United States. If we don't do that, we will get it in a different form, in a much more unfriendly form.
And that unfriendly
but in
form,
any
would that
event,
involve war?
excuse me. But in any event, we'll get it.
If you don't have a deal by Wednesday when the ceasefire ends, will you extend the ceasefire or will you start attacks again?
Maybe I won't extend it.
Okay.
But the blockade is going to remain. But maybe I won't extend it. So you have a blockade, and unfortunately, we'll have to start dropping bombs again.
Yeah. You know, here's the problem. Iran faces this issue. The U.S. has imposed a devastating blockade, as you know, stopping about 1.5 million barrels of Iranian oil per day and exports totaling $435 million in trade. This stacks up to an estimated $13 billion in losses monthly. They can't withstand that. And like I've mentioned many times, they can't just stop pumping oil, because if they do, their pumps stagnate. They go bad. And once they go bad, they don't just come back. They never come back, in fact. 90% of Iran's economy has been shut down by the U.S. military. Pete Hegseth said this is just the polite option. The polite option. Here he is.
This blockade, which the chairman will detail this morning, is the polite way that this can go. Your energy is not moving and will not move, and we can do this all day. But it's not destroyed yet. Your energy industry is not destroyed yet. You like to say publicly, Iran, that you control the Strait of Hormuz, but you don't have a navy or real domain awareness. You can't control anything. To be clear, threatening to shoot missiles and drones at ships, commercial ships that are lawfully transiting international waters, that is not control. That's piracy. That's terrorism. The United States Navy controls the traffic going in and out of the strait because we have real assets and real capabilities. And we're doing this blockade, performing it with less than 10% of America's naval power. The math is clear. We're using 10% of the world's most powerful navy, and you have 0% of your navy.
0%. Now, Iran can continue to try to play tough guy, but it's clear it doesn't actually hold any of the cards. And where are we today? Well, Iran has been using small arms fire. Sent a projectile hit a cargo ship. Nothing severe, but it keeps traffic at a standstill. They don't hold any cards, like I said. Even after Iran publicly claimed they control the Strait of Hormuz, CENTCOM confirmed the guided missile destroyer USS Pinckney is currently surging across the regional waters to enforce the Trump blockade, which, by the way, they have. One ship, an Iranian ship, tried to defy the blockade, so we blew a hole in their engine room. And the ship is sitting there dead in the water. President Trump and his cabinet officials have many levers they can pull and buttons they can push. And if Iran keeps, well, being cute, they're going to find out about those options real soon. The U.S. Navy has Iran's entire coastline locked down. Tankers that used to haul their oil are sitting idle. Ports are empty, and that $13 billion a month hemorrhage is hitting them where it hurts most. Iran's economy is basically on life support this morning. Their leaders, whoever they are scrambling. One minute they're shooting at ships in the Hormuz. The next they're pretending they want peace. President Trump not falling for this act. The United States has the military, the leverage, and the backbone that previous presidents have not had. And this blockade is sending one message this morning. Play games and you can lose everything. Come to the table with a serious deal, no nuclear program, no more funding terrorists, or the pain keeps getting worse. And with the ceasefire ticking down to Wednesday this week, the clock is loud. Iran doesn't hold the cards anymore. We do. The question is, how are we going to play them out? And how soon? More after the break. Good morning. Yeah, here's my concern, and it's probably one of yours as well. When we get into a war or a skirmish or whatever it is, any sort of military activity, that's the time that you rally and you set aside your differences, at least for a moment. But the Democrats and the mainstream media, quite honestly, don't want to see Trump pull out a win here in Iran. They're rooting for his downfall. Even Democrat Senator John Fetterman can see it, and he is appalled, as he should be. Here he is.
It's the cliche, but it's like you say the quiet part aloud. I mean, this idea, like, well, it's a big win for Trump or Netanyahu. I'm not sure about, that's crazy. It's like it's effectively, it confirms what I've always, like the New York Times and some of the media effectively have turned Iran into the underdog that we could maybe. But it's like if your hate of Trump is more than holding Iran accountable, forget Iran executed tens of thousands of its young people just a month last
in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Every single time that the media or the left can latch on to any information about negotiations or skirmishes, they figure out how to spin it as negatively as possible to tell you that we're losing, Trump's losing it, we need the 25th Amendment, and so on and so forth. When will they get tired of carrying water for Iran? I don't know, because they have not so far. They're honestly probably lengthening this conflict by all the negative coverage. That's fact. Because it sounds like they're trying to convince Iran that Trump is weak and won't be able to make a deal. Secretary Pete Hegseth says he's questioning the loyalties of all the mouthpieces who fuel this kind of garbage. Here's what he said.
Speaking of choosing wisely, a note to the press corps, to the American media. As I just can't help but notice the endless stream of garbage, the relentlessly negative coverage, you cannot resist peddling. Despite the historic and important success of this effort and the success of our troops. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what side some of you are actually on. It's incredibly unpatriotic.
Outlets frequently prioritize quoting Iranian officials, like those accusing Trump of crossing a very dangerous red line by assassinating Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, calling it a declaration of open war on Muslims. But when he quotes our own national leaders, it does so with criticism and biased so-called fact checks. CNN has portrayed the war as Trump's war, saying it was slipping out of control, arguing he had lost control of the narrative and potentially the conflict itself. It questioned the shifting justifications for the war and warned it could define his presidency negatively through prolonged costs and escalation risks, instead of the possibility that this really could be a big win for the future security of the entire world. The New York Times has tried to paint the MAGA base as fractured and regretting ever voting for Trump in the first place, accusing the president of committing crimes against humanity, despite the fact that polls show the majority of Americans actually support the objectives of this war. The Washington Post said Trump's tough ultimatum on Iran really freaked out critics on both sides of the aisle, focusing on selective quotes that question his credibility, his morality, and even his sanity, claiming that the whole truce and naval blockade was causing backlash here at home. It's a hostile media field, to be sure. And they're having a heyday with any kind of negativity they can generate or focus on. Hegseth's sick of the gotcha questions. He's letting them know that, too. Here he is.
The question about 4 weeks. It's the typical NBC sort of gotcha type question. President Trump has all the latitude in the world to talk about how long it may or may not take. 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. It could move up. It could move back. We're going to execute at his command the objectives we've set out to achieve. And what he has shown an ability to do that other presidents can't quite seem to have the aperture to do, well, I mean, Joe Biden didn't even know what he was doing, is to look for opportunities and off-ramps and escalations for the United States that creates new opportunities to execute what we need on our own timeline. So you can play games about 4 weeks, 5 weeks. He has all the latitude, and I'm glad he does, because there's no better communicator than our president expressing those things.
Daily Mail.
I've been in meetings with the president for the last 2.5 days. We know exactly where his headspace is, and he will communicate as he should exactly what he would like, and we will follow those orders. And I think everything he said on that is right down the middle.
Yeah. The media can keep twisting every headline to paint Trump as the villain, but the truth is staring everyone in the face. Iran is bleeding out under this blockade, and they know it. They don't have any leverage left. Trump's not playing the old game of weak handshakes and empty promises like Biden and Obama. He's demanding a real permanent deal that actually dismantles their nuclear threat for zero American taxpayer dollars. While the legacy press roots against America winning, Trump's got every lever he needs. Wednesday, the clock runs out. And when Iran finally folds, it won't be because the media helped. It'll be because real strength finally worked. Stay tuned. Hopefully the end is coming soon. Now, I used to think a mattress was just furniture until I got my ghost bed. I want you to know that. Honestly, the first night I slept on, I woke up and I said, man, American-made quality. This is what good sleep's supposed to feel like. And I'm being honest. I did it again last night. I love that bed. Ghost Bed does not build mattresses like furniture. They build engineered sleep systems. Their beds are serious health equipment designed for relief and recovery. Not looks, not fluff. Your body should be healing while you sleep. I did last night. Did you? Shouldn't be fighting for comfort. And we've noticed the difference right away. Look, if you're waking up stiff, tossing and turning, sleeping hot, even reaching for a pain med before you go to bed, hoping it's going to be different this time around, that's not aging. That's your mattress. And it's not saying good things. Here's another thing I love about Ghost Bed. It's American-made, and you get 101 nights to try it at home. If you don't feel the difference, if you don't love it, send it back, risk-free. Ghost Bed offering my audience, you, the lowest price of the season, plus an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Gruber. Use the promo code Gruber. Ghostbed.com/Gruber. That promo code is Gruber. Nice to see you. I hope you had a good weekend. I do. It was a great weekend, really, here. Really enjoyed it. Went and saw The Great Awakening. What a fabulous movie. Ivy and I will talk about that coming up a little bit later. Nice to see you today. We'll be right back. Hey, babe. Now, here's something we've talked about a number of times here on the program, and it's concerning because it's reckless. And despite the Supreme Court trying to reel it in, these federal district judges continue to wade into places they don't belong and issuing injunctions they really don't have the power to issue. So a court has ruled that construction of the ballroom can now proceed again. The construction of President Trump's White House ballroom can proceed. A federal appeals court ruled late Friday. This came after a lower court judge continued to block above-ground building of the former East Wing. A three-judge panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, that's the second highest court in America, according to most, behind the Supreme Court, put a hold on the order by U.S. District Judge Richard Leon. Leon had stopped the $400 million construction project. Who does he think he is? He's a district judge, all right? Construction will now continue until at least the next hearing, which isn't scheduled till at least June the 5th. Trump demolished the East Wing last fall to build a massive ballroom in that space. The National Trust for Historic Preservation sued to block construction, arguing the president had overstepped his authority by moving forward with the project without getting approval from key federal agencies and Congress. But Congress isn't paying for it. It's being paid for by private money. So here we are. Private money footing the bill, and they're trying to interfere with it. Are you surprised? Neither am I. Are you tired of choking down pills? Because I certainly was. Protovite Plus gives you a stick-pack powder full of essentials like B12, vitamin C, blueberry juice powder. Just put it in your water, your smoothie, morning shake, whatever you have. Multivitamins shouldn't be complicated. Protovite Plus hits the essentials: magnesium, B vitamins for energy and stress resilience, iodine for thyroid support, and blueberry and vitamin C for antioxidants. No more choking down those horse pills. Protovite Plus gives you a stick-pack powder full of essentials. Just tear, mix, and sip. No mess, no pills, no problem. The best vitamins you're ever going to have from Victory Nutrition International. Nutrition that gets in. Get 20% off right now. VNI.life/Gruber. Promo code's Gruber. If you subscribe, you get 20% off and free shipping forever, for life. VNI.life/Gruber. Promo code's Gruber. You're going to love these vitamins. We do. You will as well. You got to trust me. I'll be right back. You know, the the old belief is you have to believe that your enemy on the battlefield is sane. I don't know if we have that today. I don't. 1 minute you've got the Iranian diplomat saying, we're good. Let's stop the destruction of our country. Let's open the Strait of Hormuz. Let's get the world back to normal, which is what happened on Friday. By Saturday, the IRGC was back saying, no, the strait is closed forever. will not agree to anything. And then they made some small arms fire. They actually put one projectile in the air, hit a container ship, a cargo ship. Not much damage. Meanwhile, the United States blew the engine room out of an Iranian ship that refused to respect the American blockade of Iranian ships. Leaves everything kind of up in the air. Oil on Friday went all the way down to $81 a barrel, right? Today, it's at 88. Didn't go to 100, but it's still concerning. Joining me now is RT Trevino. He runs Pecos Country Oil. Joining me now, RT, good to see you.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to see you. All right, so U.S. oil exports, here's something people aren't reporting. All-time record highs. When I was watching at the end of last week, late in the week, I saw 121 oil tankers, including 68 that would take more than 2 million barrels each, headed to America, leaving the Strait of Hormuz. And we don't need that. We're going to get oil from America. Tell me about this.
It's huge. And what a great thing that is here for America. Not only does it show that we are producing the most oil in the world, but we are ready to step up. Think about this, Steve. We were prepared as a nation, and here in the Gulf of America, across the great state of Texas, Louisiana, and other places that have refineries, without even knowing it. We answered a call that we didn't know we were going to get here in the great state of Texas. And like I said, the other states to ready to provide the world with the oil that it needs every day to be affordable, reliable, and abundant. And this is just such a great example of how the United States is the leader and is setting new energy dominance examples across the world.
Yeah, absolutely true. So what does this mean for producers here in the United States? Because here's where it gets dicey, I suppose. Oil's good at $88 for the value for the companies. Good at 80. It's probably okay at 70 or 75. But when it gets back into the mid-60s or lower, which is possible when the Strait of Hormuz opens up, because you have this big push of oil out at that point, where does the United States have to be, generally speaking, for the majority of the companies to be in the black so they can continue to produce, continue to create jobs, continue to export oil or natural gas? What is the target price for oil? A good one.
A great question. The target price for us at any time is anywhere between that $75 and $85 price range. So let's just call it $80 oil. And with that oil, not only are companies like Pecos and Exxon continue to provide returns to shareholders and investors, but the economy continues to thrive. And more importantly, the price of gasoline can also be way below where it is now so that the American people can continue to thrive and grow as well. And one other thing real quick, Steve, keep in mind that under President Trump, we have had a $100 oil for less than 20 days total between his first term and this term. Under President Biden, it was 3 solid months, 90 days of $100 oil. And under President Obama, it was 3 solid years of $100 oil or higher. So this president knows what's going on, and we as an industry are prepared for prices to come back down, and that's why you're seeing a lot of capital discipline at this time.
It's interesting. President Obama wanted gasoline to be $10 a gallon. He talked about it. Part of the new Green Deal or the Green New Deal or whatever that mess is to force us into compliance and not have a car and only use it once a week if we did. That was the goal, to shove Americans into a place of control, not economic prosperity, of control. Look, gas today is as cheap as $3.37 in Oklahoma. It's not as cheap as it was, but it's a lot better. It's down again since yesterday. It's down more than a dime week over week. So things are heading in the right direction. But what happens if this fight continues in the Strait of Hormuz? I mean, if the ships can't move, do they just keep coming to America? Do they go elsewhere? Does oil stay at $88? What do you? I mean, I'm asking you to get your crystal ball out, RT. Yeah. But what do you see?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. And what I'm expecting is for America to come out of this as the energy dominant leader once again. We are seeing an energy shift, no pun intended, to where the United States will be the number one oil and gas producer to the world again. And also, what I mean by that is that financially, we will be the standard. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what we're seeing right now. And when the Strait of Hormuz is fully open again, I do expect the United States to be controlling that 3 million barrels of oil a day that Iran provides. And not only will the United States then be able to distribute that money properly, and $2 billion a year will not be able to go towards terrorism, that we would see that 3 million barrels on the market, on the global market, just like we now see the oil in Venezuela on the global market, which again will bring that price down probably below $80 and have real stability for the next several years in the world, because the bully in Iran will not be there anymore. And the markets in places like New York will not be able to add this uncertainty to the price of oil anymore as well.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Something else that happened this year, obviously. January the 2nd, we took out Maduro in Venezuela. Venezuela has basically gotten out of the headlines. The rebuilding of its oil industry is full swing right now with Chevron and others down there. Venezuela can produce 3 to 3.5 million barrels a day, I understand. Guyana is close to being able to put its oil exports into high mode. That could be 1.5 million barrels a day. Ecuador is also joining the party. Look, by the time this is all said and done, we might get 6 or 8 million barrels a day out of South America. Maybe more as this continues, because they continue to find more and more reserves down there. So as I look down the road 5 years or 10, we don't need their oil from the Middle East. And boy, wouldn't that be a nice thing going forward, because all we've done is fight over it for, well, my entire life and yours. So maybe it can come to an end. Your thoughts?
Yes, absolutely. As we continue into the future, we do expect even places like Argentina to come online with natural gas, and Australia to have more natural gas, and all these other great places in South America, like you said. And keep in mind, Steve, the United States as a whole actually does not depend on Middle East oil like we used to. We still get it and we still import it. Do not get me wrong. We use 21 million barrels of oil a day here in America, and we only produce 14 million, and we can only produce we can only process 25% of that 14 million at our refineries. So I do expect us to continue to add more refineries here in America that will be able to process American crude oil. But also what's hurting America right now is the horrificness in regulation and policy in California, and why our brothers and sisters there are continuing to hurt with higher gasoline prices is because the majority of their oil comes from the Middle East. And it comes in two ways. One, directly through crude oil, and then they get 90%, almost 90% of their gasoline, jet fuel, and diesel from China, and China gets 90% of their crude oil.
Yeah, jet fuel is a problem for some airlines, mostly in Europe and in Canada a little bit, I've noticed. RT, we'll keep a close eye on it. Always thank you for the update, sir. We'll talk again soon.
Oh, thank you, Steve, for having me.
Greatly appreciated. All right, so gas is down a little bit today. Where does it go from here? We watch it every day for you right here on Daybreak. All right, thank you for being here. Today's episode is brought to you by PuroClean's Veterans Initiative, PuroVet. Veterans, if you're ready to be your own boss, join a trusted brand and serve your community in a new way. 855-PuroVet's the number, purovet.com. Look, if you're a veteran, you want a chance to have your own business, this is a really cool opportunity. purovet.com, check it out. All right, a cool opportunity would be for Congress to go back to work, right? Wouldn't that be something? Congress actually gets some work done. Don't count on it. I'm not going to hold my breath on it, neither should you. Nathan Worcester is the Epoch Times senior congressional correspondent. He's with me now. Nathan, good morning. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely glad to be here, Steve.
All right, good to have you here. All right, so what's on the they've had a lot of time off recently. Some others got permanent time off, like Eric Swalwell and Gonzalez. But what's on the headline for Congress? Look, everybody out here wants to see the Save America Act get done, but it doesn't really go anywhere. So without that, what's top of mind in Congress today?
Well, we could also see some other people leave in addition to Swalwell and Gonzalez. We could see some of the pressure on Corey Mills out of Florida continue to mount. And then for the Democrats, Phyllis McCormick, who's had that ethics scandal around her, there could then also be pressure from the Democrats for her to step down or to be stripped of her position. Ditto with Mills. But in addition to that, we've had a whole succession of issues that have continued to be kicked down the road, so to speak, in particular DHS and now FISA, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which has now just been kicked down the road only a few days, really, and then there's going to be some second attempt to confront it. So
when we talk about that, you say it's kicked down the road for how long? This Congress should be in there working. You know, they're on vacation when the rest of us are working. And it's become a sore spot for me and for a lot of others. They take a lot of time off. They don't seem to get a lot of things done. And to be honest with you, people are unimpressed with the Republican members of this Congress more than the others. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the Save America Act, everything that's happened with that, for a lot of Republican voters, or certainly a lot of Americans, period, independents, many Democrats who advocate things like photo ID and also proof of citizenship to vote, which is what the Save America Act was about. The fact that there was no, at a certain point, obvious path forward, and the Senate leadership would not go with what Mike Lee was advocating, a talking filibuster. They're not interested in touching the filibuster in any other way, for example, through the nuclear option, easing it up. I think a lot of people saw that, and then in late March, when we did have that debate on Save America, Democrats pointed out that, well, this is just performative because nothing is going to come of it. And that was true. So it's possible something will happen with Save America in the future, but it certainly seems like it was just, sort of an attempt to throw a bone to the base on the issue, but nothing actually happened, and everybody knew that the steps that would need to be taken for that to actually go forward were not taken. Yeah.
It's disappointing. And so here we stand. And just for the folks that don't have a clear understanding, I want to go back to Corey Mills just for a moment here. Phyllis McCormick, she stole money, allegedly, $5 million. Allegedly, she lined her pocket. So that one's pretty cut and dried. Corey Mills' jam is with trying to push contracts, my understanding, to his companies. Can you lay that out for the folks so they know what Corey Mills is up against and why?
Well, Mills is surrounded by a few different issues. And in the case of those contracts, I think that's gotten a little less attention about, again, some of the allegations of his personal conduct and also the fact that there are questions around what he claimed about his military record and what his military record actually reflected. So it seems as though there's multiple areas of inquiry. The ones around his personal conduct center around a restraining order that was against him in October 2025 after a threat supposedly from him, according to a former girlfriend, regarding the release of certain videos. Okay. And then, as you said, we've got the ethics committee looking into his financials. there's a lot that is under scrutiny there, as with Phyllis McCormick.
So Mills is a mess, is what you're saying overall. I mean, just a mess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So is it survivable? I mean, if it was a Democrat, it'd be survivable. As a Republican, is it survivable? That's my real question here, because Phyllis McCormick, I mean, she's done. She's gone. She's already, been shown to be, frankly, a thief, allegedly. But can Mills survive this, yes or no? It's important because as you do a head count, as you count noses, and then you look at special elections, one of these empty seats going to be filled. It all matters. Last word to you.
It'll come down to whether the Democrats are willing to hand over McCormick, which I agree with you. It seems like her days are numbered no matter what. But on the other hand, as with Swalwell, Gonzalez, that pairing, and this might be another thing that frustrates people about Congress, but it appears that perhaps the Democrats and Republicans have to work things out such that they at least maintain the same margin.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Nathan Worcester from the Epic Times, senior congressional reporter there. Nathan, thank you for stopping in today.
Absolutely. Glad to join you.
There you have it. So, look, what do you just do me a favor? Send me an email. Go to stevegruber.com, stevegruber.com. Tell me where you want to see the action in Congress, all right? Action in Congress. Send me an email. Tell me what you want to be the number one priority. Is it the Save America Act? stevegruber.com. Send me an email. After the break, a preview. It's Monday, of course, which means a brand new episode of Forgotten America. The podcast with Ivy and I will be dropping at 9 o'clock Eastern time this morning. You always want to be on top of that so you can tell your friends about it and get them to listen as well. Have a preview after the break. All right, coming up 9 o'clock this morning, as happens on Mondays, a new episode of the podcast dropping at 9 a.m. Forgotten America. You don't miss it. Today, this is a conversation about insurance and the way insurance works in America, health insurance, and why it doesn't work. And Paul Siegert is a brilliant man. He's been a guest on this program for many years. He was featured in a documentary I did in 2023 about hospitals in America, and he says the insurance industry is far dirtier than the Russians. He used to be an analyst, a Russian analyst with the NSA. Then he got into the insurance industry, and now he tells people how to save money on insurance or what to do about the cost and what you get in return. Here's a preview.
Discounts in a facility, 85% would be a common number. And had I used the insurance, in a traditional insurance plan, they would have sent that $28,000 bill to the insurer, who then would have said, "Oh, okay, we're going to apply our discount that we negotiated, and it's 50% or whatever the number is." And Paul's going to pay his share, his max out of pocket. He's going to hit that, so he's going to kick in $7,000 or whatever, and then we'll pay $7 or $8,000, and that's how it would have played out. And then you get an EOB, an explanation of benefits in the mail, that it makes you feel kind of good because you think, well, shoot, that was really expensive for me as a consumer, but at least because of their power and their size in the marketplace and the negotiated discounts, I didn't end up having to pay that $28,000. When in reality, had you not even had insurance, it would have cost much less. Mm-hmm. So that's a crazy system, and that's how it works every day in this country.
It's remarkable. He's talking about a child that he had. She's now 2 years old. $28,000 was the hospital bill. But he said, I'm a cash payer. I don't want to use insurance. So they came back and said, well, it's not $28,000, it's $2,800. He saved 90% by paying cash. He said if he had paid his deductible and so forth, he would have paid $7,000 in cash. You've got to hear this conversation. It's wild. It's wild how these insurance companies scheme and game everything. Paul Siegert today. Find it on YouTube. It's free. The Forgotten America podcast. Become a subscriber. It's free. And this advice today is priceless. You don't want to miss it. With Paul Siegert on Forgotten America podcast with me and Ivy. We'll have more here on Daybreak in just a moment.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now on Real America's Voice.
All right, welcome to it as we continue another big hour fighting for you from the Foxhole of Freedom, giving you better analysis. And you're going to find anywhere else. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, the Democrat Party has become a party run by fringe maniacs, like the guy with a Nazi tattoo in Maine, a communist in New York City, and, of course, the new voice of the left, Hassan Piker, who hates America and campaigns for Democrats. Number two, stakes are very high in Pakistan again today as peace talks may or may not take place, with the ceasefire coming to an end on Wednesday. This is a critical crossroads for the battles in Iran. And number three, before Pam Bondi got bounced as the Attorney General, the calls were for accountability, and millions of Trump supporters were tired of waiting for results. But so far, we don't have a replacement AG, and the natives are still restless when it comes to crimes committed all over this country. Fraud in Minnesota to California, NGOs lining their pockets with your money, members of Congress becoming wildly wealthy in a few years in Washington, and, of course, election fraud and election integrity. A lot of discussion of saving American elections. With that in mind, there may finally be something happening. At least that is what's being said. FBI Director Kash Patel on Sunday Morning Futures said they have the goods on the efforts to rig the election of 2020 and more. He said arrests are coming soon. Here's what he said.
That we've got all the information we need. We're working with our prosecutors at the Department of Justice and their Attorney General Todd Blanche, and we are going to be making arrests, and it's coming, and I promise you, it's coming soon.
Well, Kash, hold on, because when you started this interview, you said, Maria, you and I have been working together for a long time, and this is exactly what you were referring to. You were on my show repeatedly talking about the Russia collusion story, and our audience wants to know why there's never any accountability. But specifically, the question that I asked you was about election integrity and whether or not you have any information to verify what President Trump says all the time, which is the election was rigged. That's what I asked you, Kash.
I'm sorry, Maria, I misheard. Yes, so what we are doing is folding that into our entire conspiracy case, and we will let the prosecution speak for him, but we have the information that backs President Trump's claim, but because it's an ongoing prosecution investigation, I can't get ahead of the DOJ and the president.
All right, do you believe him? That's the question. Does Ivy believe him? That's a bigger question. Ivy joining me this morning. Ivy, good morning.
Good morning.
Accountability. Look, you know it as well as I do. We hear it all the time. People want to see the people that are doing illegal or unlawful things arrested and held accountable.
Have you heard of this woman, Shamim Mafi? She's 44 years old. She's an Iranian-born businesswoman and a U.S. green card holder. She was arrested at LAX. Federal prosecutors are alleging that she brokered arms deals on behalf of the Iranian government. She helped arrange sales of drones, bombs, bomb fuses, millions of rounds of ammunition, and she sold these weapons primarily to Sudan's military, which I believe at this current time they're in a brutal civil war.
They are.
These deals, this corruption here in the United States that's been going on, these deals were worth tens of millions of dollars, over $60 to $70 million. And she allegedly was working under the direction of Iran's Ministry of Intelligence.
How does that happen? I mean, honestly, how do you have a woman here moving millions of dollars in arms? Because I saw this story. I'm glad you brought this up. How does this happen? I mean, I appreciate the fact that she's been arrested. I appreciate the fact that we get... But the concern I have, Ivy, is this. We only get a small fraction of all of this. There's probably others like her doing the same thing. And it just feels like I feel the way other people feel. We need more results. We need people in handcuffs. We need people held accountable.
I think the American people are kind of over it, and we talk about this a lot in terms of there being a two-tiered, if you will, justice system. One for the rest of us, everyday Americans. But then, those who, we know that there was some election fraud. There was a lot of things happening in Georgia, a lot of things. We know that in Michigan, there was a lot of people just made out of whole cloth. And that was through the CCP.
Yep.
And so we wonder, hey, when are we going to start seeing people prosecuted And we just aren't seeing that. And I think it really aggravates a
Well,
lot
let me
of
ask you
American
this.
people.
When you hear Kash Patel say that, simple question is, do you believe him? Do you think that something's about to happen?
I'm hopeful. I'm an eternal optimist. So yes, I hope that that there will be some movement on this. But as you know, if anybody's ever been through the justice system, it seems like this just goes on forever and ever and ever. You have a court case and it can go on 5, 6, 7 years before anything happens.
Maybe 10.
Sometimes 10. So this, unfortunately, these sorts of cases sometimes take a really long time, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah. All right. What else you got there in your stack?
So I don't know if you know this, but the Boston Marathon is happening today.
Did not know that.
130th Boston Marathon. Today is Patriots Day, and it's actively underway. There's more than 30,000 runners. And Nike actually got some pushback because they said, walkers are tolerated. Runners are welcome. Walkers are tolerated, which I thought was kind of a cute ad, but apparently they got a bunch of pushback. It's like, oh my gosh, walkers can do the Boston Marathon too. It's like, come on, guys. Like, let's have a sense of humor.
How long would it take to walk 26 miles?
It'd take a long time.
Take a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to do a bunch of half marathons. I don't do that anymore, but it is. I look at the marathon runners and go, you have a lot more motivation than I do.
Well, if you walked at 3 miles an hour, it would take you 8.5 hours, I guess.
That's a long time. See, I didn't realize that you could walk and maybe this is just a joke. I didn't think you could walk it because there is a time limit. So I'm not even sure.
No, I've seen, like the medals that you have from your, your half marathons and your Ironman, the different stuff you did.
Yeah.
You have to finish at a certain time or you don't get your medal from the Boston Marathon? Is that what I'm getting out of that?
Yeah. You have to qualify, first of all.
Right.
For it in order to participate. And then if you don't finish, you don't get a medal. But there, I did actually saw a couple months ago was an article about, if you sign up for a marathon and you decide, halfway you don't want to do it, you can take this bypass. I mean, you can still get your medal. It's like, really?
Wasn't that the LA Marathon?
I think it was something like that. I was like, I wouldn't want my medal if I didn't complete it.
I just love the pictures of the folks towards the end of the marathon.
Yeah. I know when I first started, oh my goodness, Steve, when I first started talking with you about doing half marathons, you would show me pictures of what occurs sometimes to marathon runners, such as, they might...
Incontinence.
And I'm like, thank you, honey, thank you for your support.
No,
That's the motivation I need.
Lovely pictures.
So let's talk about the movie we saw last night, Steve.
The Great Awakening.
A Great Awakening.
What a remarkable movie.
Wow. Man, it was, if for anyone that has not seen it, I would highly, highly recommend it. It is in theaters right now, in select theaters, and it is coming out for streaming in May, but I would highly recommend going and see it in the theater. It's a story about Reverend George Whitfield. And give me your take on it.
My take was, I can't believe that George Whitfield, who was an Anglican preacher from England, came to the United States because he got kicked out of the Church of England, and then he got kicked out of the country, back when people had spine about kicking people out of their countries.
Right.
Came to America, preached from 1739 until his death in 1770, close personal friends with Benjamin Franklin, and the most famous man in America prior to the Revolution, which is bizarre because we never heard of him. Ivy, I got to run, but we'll be back with you in a minute.
Okay.
Thank you. Go see it, The Great Awakening. She's right. Fabulous movie that will really stir your heart. Go see it. We'll be back. All right, up next here, I just want to talk about your health for a second, as we often do here, and I want to talk about a guy who walked away from a 25-year corporate career, to build a faith-based health company. And after he did that, he came through with some breakthroughs and things that are going to help you. Rob Renee, founder of Exodus Strong, joining me. Rob, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning, Steve?
Doing great. Doing great. And light therapy was something that I didn't take too seriously. I'll be honest with you. Didn't take it too seriously until I started seeing people on social media saying, man, this red light therapy has helped my skin. It's helped my health. It's helped my vitality, all of these different things. And I'm like, really? And so I started digging deeper. And at the same time, you said, well, see, Steve, I'm looking into this red light therapy, right? I mean, what does red light therapy do for people?
Well, it's so exciting because most Americans have no idea that they're walking around exhausted, right? And it's not because they need more caffeine or they need an extra supplement. It's because the mitochondria are just exhausted. And your mitochondria are little power plant cells that are in your blood. And if they don't have the right light, then they're exhausted. And so that's what's been so exciting for me, is I've been through a crazy health journey this last 6 years, and I've been interviewing all these doctors and scientists and figuring out what's going on. And I've come up with the light code system, and the light is the first pillar of that, because red light is so effective. Like you mentioned, it really helps with that whole power plant issue problem that people have, the mitochondria, right? If we can invigorate those and help them work better, then your whole life feels better. You have more energy. You don't need that coffee. And it's just amazing, something you can do in a short period of time, and it's really effective for your health. So I just went all in, and I'm excited.
I might still like coffee, Rob, to be honest with you. I like it a lot. Maybe I'll stick.
So do I.
Maybe I could have both. But you're a cancer survivor. You've been through a lot. You've been through the trials and tribulations. And this is one of the things that helped you get back on your feet, isn't it?
Yes, it's like literally the everything that I've created is because of the journey that I've been on. I've been on a journey that's pretty crazy, but through that process, I think the Lord just taught me specific things about health, and red light therapy is a big part of that. So I'm super stoked to help people with that.
In fact, you've got places now, that's the whole salon, red light salons and so forth, where you go in and you pay, well, a lot of money for an hour, to say the least. They're expensive, but these are part of these, health and wellness salons and so forth. Red light therapy is a cornerstone of what they're doing because it works, but man, they get big money for it, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and the panels are amazing. The beds are like $75,000, and the panels that you can get at home, they're like $7,000 or $8,000. It's like, holy smokes! I wanted to find something and create something that was affordable that people could take in their homes, and so that's what we've done with this incredible mat. Right, this mat is like 6 feet tall, 71 inches long, and a couple feet wide. You can lay on it, and it covers your entire body. And so you just, with a short instance, 15, 20 minutes a day, some up to 30, depending upon your issues. I mean, it's just incredible how fast it helps. And then if you do it consistently, you just start feeling so much better. And it's just super exciting.
Now, you can't stay on this too long, can you? You said 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. You can do whatever you want, can't you?
Yeah, you don't want, actually, you can do it too much, right? So
really?
Literally, that's one of the things we help people with is what's the right protocol, right? Because that's really important, because most people have no clue what to do. And we even have a pulsing method in it, which is really important because your skin can get used to that red light. And but if you pulse it, then your skin doesn't recognize it, and the mitochondria still continue to work effectively with the pulsing. So that's something really important that people just don't understand. But once you do understand it, we've got everything for you, and we've got it in an affordable package that people can afford. So it's just
in fact, we've really got a special here for the folks listening today. Normally, this mat would be about $1,200, but today it's $597 using the promo code Gruber. ExodusStrong.com. ExodusStrong.com. Promo code is Gruber, and it's for the first 40 folks in today from Daybreak. That's it, right? First 40 people in.
That's right.
Boom.
That's right. And then one of the fun things we're doing, Steve, is we're gonna do this, right? This thing is super popular, right? These face masks, and these face masks, as we call it, the radiant system. We're going to include this face mask and the mist and the serum. There's a serum that you put on your face before that has peptides in it that prepares the skin, helps the collagen development. That whole radiance package we're going to include for free. So it's like a $297 package in addition to the $1,200 mat that you talked. All for $597. It's a super great deal, and we only have 40 of those. So I would jump on it and get it quick if you want to get one of those free face masks. And I know Ivy likes that face mask.
She does. She wears it just about every night. Rob Renee, always good to see you, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, God bless you. Nice to see you.
God bless you, my friend. All right, there it is again. All right, ExodusStrong.com. ExodusStrong.com. The promo code's Gruber. The first 40 Daybreak listeners in on this deal. You get that entire thing. The red light map, the full radiant system, free of charge, $597. And they are expensive. I don't know if you see these places that sell these things. They are remarkably expensive. All right, so a little update on the Strait of Hormuz. More action there as the United States has taken out an Iranian flag ship. We have taken it over. In addition to that, and this is what's happening as we speak, so I'm just giving you a quick update here. The United States Navy seized an Iranian cargo ship after they blew the hole in the engine room. I told you about the hole in the engine room. We took that ship. And now the United States have stormed an Iranian flag ship as they continue to try to defy the American blockade. It's not going to work. Iran either complies, and look, the peace talks are happening allegedly in Islamabad, Pakistan today. Will they happen or not? I'm not sure. We'll keep updates looking at it all day. Because here's the problem that we've described here for a while. I don't know who's in charge of Iran. They don't know. The people that live there don't know who's in charge. Is it the IRGC? Diplomats? Somebody else running Tehran? Fact is, they don't know. We'll take a closer look at it as the day continues here on Daybreak. All right. Here we go again. Graham Plattner in Maine is the guy that had the big Nazi tattoo on his chest. He's apparently going to be the U.S. Senate candidate for the Democrat Party in the state of Maine. And I see things like this and I go, how is that really possible that the Democrat Party has gone from being John F. Kennedy to being full-on tattooed Nazis? Or to Zoran Mamdani, who's not a Democrat. He's a communist. He flies under the Democrat flag, but he's not. He's a full-blown socialist communist. Ask him, he'll tell you. And in fact, he said he's more embracing of the Democratic Socialist platform now than ever before. His intention is to tax high-income and high-earning New Yorkers as people flee New York already. This guy's going to try to tax them even more. And then you got Hassan Piker. This guy has been out there with Al Sayed, the candidate for U.S. Senate in Michigan, and others. He's on the campaign trail out there with Democrats, and he hates America. And how do I know that? Because he says it all the time. Here's an example.
Empires never die quietly, and we must end the American empire regardless. But we must manage the retreat of a superpower from the world stage. This is a challenge for our time. Actually, this is the challenge for our time.
There you have it.
Because if we do not do this, then the American empire will come to an end in a much more violent way.
We must destroy America, but we must control its destruction. This guy is on the campaign trail with Democrats all over the country, including Al Sayed, who, by the way, is leading in the polls in Michigan to be the Democrat nominee to be the U.S. Senate candidate in Michigan. That's a frightening proposition now, isn't it? Tell me. Send me an email, stevegruber.com. Tell me what you think of that. I'll be right back. All right. Mass shooting over the weekend, right? 8 children killed. Shreveport, Louisiana. 8 killed. Domestic violence situation going wildly wrong. And in Shreveport, they more than doubled their annual homicide rate with one event, according to the chief of police there. And it happened at 2 different locations, unlike any scene they'd ever seen before either. Joining me, Michael Letts, 30-year law enforcement veteran, founder of Invest USA, national nonprofit dedicated to equipping police officers with life-saving bulletproof vests. We'll get to that in a moment. Michael, welcome back to the program. It's been a bit.
Well, it's been a while, but thank you, Steve. It's always a privilege to be with you, and thank you for what you're doing for the country.
Well, appreciate what you do. Look, the domestic violence incidents are just about the most dangerous, volatile situation for a police officer to walk into. I know that. Tell the folks, I'm on the money there, aren't I?
You're exactly right. That is the most dangerous call when the call comes out is domestic violence. People don't understand why. You walk into the situation, obviously there's a dispute, there's tempers, there's a lot of emotion going on. And here's the sad part about it. You resolve the issue, or you attempt to resolve the issue. Sometimes you look like a hero, but then according to law, you know, especially if there's been any physical violence, if there's any sign that somebody's been hit or slapped or whatever, by law, you have to take somebody in. So you go to arrest somebody, the one person that cried the altercation, and suddenly they reverse on you. Suddenly they all gang up on you. Oh, no, you're not taking my loved one with you. And then they get violent. And it happens, Steve, you'd be shocked at how many times it happens. You're going in, you're the hero 1 second, and the next minute you're the villain because you have to take somebody to jail.
Right. Now let's talk about this suspect for a moment. The suspect is deceased, by the way. Got in a jam with the police after this. Shamar Elkins, domestic violence rampage, left 8 kids dead. They're believed to be his kids, aged and ranged in age from 1 to 14. I can't say that unequivocally that they're all his, but it appears to be the case as the investigation continues. This is just tragic, isn't it?
It is tragic. Well, we know for a fact 6 of them were his, and now it does appear the other 2 are his as well. So it appears all 8 of them. And here's the problem, Steve, is that's not the first time we've been called to that house. The domestic violence has prevailed on his record quite often. And so the question becomes, when you have that many calls going for domestic violence, should that person have not been monitored more closely? And should they not have done anything to try to prevent the situation ahead of time?
Well, right. If they've been there that many times, how does that continue to happen? How do you continue to call people back to the same home for the same complaint over and over again and allow that person to continue on the streets? That's what concerns me. How do we do that, Michael? How do we allow this? Well, our system of law enforcement seems hindered by weak prosecutions and weak, look, this no cash bail thing. All these things are tied together. We need to put people behind bars that are a threat to themselves, the community, and apparently their family and kids. Your thoughts?
Well, you're exactly right. Here's what this clearly demonstrates, Steve. Our judicial system is broken. Sometimes, you know, we have difficulty in law enforcement itself, but our judicial system is broken. When you put people back out on the streets continually, when the prosecutors don't recommend high sentences, when they are given and then a judge overrides it and gives them, puts them back out on the street, something's badly broken. Can you imagine what it does to the law enforcement officer to think that, yeah, I can arrest you, Steve, and you can be home before I can? It's very frustrating for law enforcement. It gets to the standpoint we wonder why we do what we do. Is it really making a difference?
Yeah, let's make this pretty simple. Do you, as a law enforcement officer, do you have the right to go home tonight after your shift?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would hope, you know, we would have the same rights as any other American would.
Yeah, you get to go home after your shift, which means you get to do the job for which you were hired by the public, by the way, to protect us from people like this Shamar Elkins, who murdered his own children, apparently in a fit of outrage. Bizarre that he was still on the streets. And that's where Invest comes in. I want you to tell the folks about your Invest. You buy bulletproof vests through a nonprofit for law enforcement officers all over this country. The first time I had you on, about a number of years ago now, Michael, you told me the number of police officers that will go to work today with no bulletproof vest. What's the percentage?
90%.
90% of the police officers out there today going to domestic violence incidents like this one in Shreveport or wherever else they are on the streets, 9 out of 10 do not have the protective gear they need. Is that fair to say?
That's correct. That's correct, because here, let me clarify for your viewers. They have concealable vests. That's the vest you see wear under their shirt. but that vest is only rated to stop a handgun. In this particular instance, he used a long-range rifle. Would have cut right through one of our concealable vests if you weren't wearing one at all. 9 out of 10 officers do not have what we call active shooter vests. We've developed new technology. It's called an active shooter vest. It has titanium plates in it. It will stop anything out on the street. But 9 out of 10 cops don't have it. And so every time you see a newsreel where you see officers rushing in on an active shooter call, they know in the back of their mind, if that active shooter is still alive, they're at a huge disadvantage. They might not come back out themselves.
Yeah. So what is a vest like this? You said new technology, active shooter vest, right? So for people listening, an active shooter vest for those in law enforcement, what does it cost?
Interestingly, Steve, we got the cost down, and they're down to roughly $700, which is, a concealable vest runs about 5 to 6, so they're not that much more expensive.
So this is not concealable then. This is on the outside. What is it?
No, you wear it it's a tactical vest per se. We wear it on the outside, but you could wear it underneath. But the difference is, Steve, titanium doesn't give. So if you're wearing it on the inside, you're forgetting you're wearing it. You jump in that car, you better watch your chin because it'll pop you in the chin if you're not careful.
But better to get popped in the chin than to be laid to rest, right? I mean, that's fact. Tell the people where they can find Invest. I just think it's a wonderful thing that you do. And you help people get these vests, and every little donation helps to get another vest on another police officer so that when something happens like happened in Shreveport, Louisiana, the police officer has the right to go home at night. Michael, tell them.
They go to our website. That's INVESTUSA.org. It's a charity.org. You can keep abreast of everything that's going on. You can make a contribution. I tell people to do 2 things. Even if you only give $1, here's what we're trying to make sure every cop in America knows, because they have the lowest morale we've ever had in history, Steve. And we need to tell them that millions and millions of people support what they're doing to keep us safe. And then the second thing, if you see an officer on the street today, just smile and say thank you for your service. Make a huge difference in their day. Thank you so much for having me on, Steve.
Michael, always appreciate seeing you, my friend. You come back anytime. Michael Letts, invest.org. Sure, thank you. Nonprofit trying to help the police officers out there. $700, you can save a life. Even if you pitch in $1, it helps. All right. Now, it's one thing for a bank to say they support our servicemen and women. It's another thing to prove it. Old Glory Bank is proud to stand with our military and their families by offering Old Glory Protect. It's a $100,000 line of duty death benefit that they offer this free to their customers, by the way, free. It's a meaningful way they express gratitude for those who protect our country. Learn more. oldglorybank.com/RAV. oldglorybank.com/RAV. You need to know who you're doing business with every day. We talk about it here, but you know who you're doing business with every single day, because who knows? Deplatforming, debanking, all these things going on, we need it to stop. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk about the culture that defers to fraud. How do we get in a place from Minnesota to California to probably every state, actually? How do hijackers steal our money while hardworking families pay higher taxes? These fraudsters, what do we do about it? We'll talk about it next. It's Daybreak. Good morning. All right, look, we've heard about the fraud in Minneapolis, obviously, and the fraud in California with the medical centers, right? The hospice centers, hundreds of them concentrated in a short few blocks. It's remarkable how much fraud is going on, and a lot of it's facilitated at the state level. Other areas are facilitated at the federal level, big targets. But what are we doing about it? Dr. O.J. Oleka, CEO of the State Financial Officers Foundation, is with me. Doctor, nice to see you today.
It is good to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
Greatly appreciate you. So the House Oversight Committee has hosted a hearing on preventing fraud in state-run federal programs. And look, here where I am, I'm hearing the rumors as well here in Michigan. Why wouldn't you? These state-run federal programs are ripe for fraud, but why are they so easily targeted?
Well, it's a great question. And one of the reasons why these agencies and these programs are so easily targeted is because the verifications are off. You've heard the vice president talk about this before. During the Biden era, unfortunately, a lot of the eligibility verifications simply got turned off. And it was open season in a lot of the federal programs funded by you and other taxpayers. So what our state financial officers are doing across the country, that's your state treasurers, auditors, and comptrollers, they're stopping it. Last year, they found $6 billion en route to $28 billion that they safeguarded for the American people. Our folks are on the case, they're on the job, and help is on the way.
Well, you know, in some states, Doctor, but not in all states. I mean, they've got the Stop Nick Shirley Act in California. They don't even want journalists talking about fraud. They want to shut them down before they can expose the fraud. So I guess states are not equal in their application of these anti-fraud assets, are they?
Well, you are 100% correct about that. And where you find that is in a lot of states where they don't even have a state treasurer or a state auditor, or they don't have the leadership with the courage. Minnesota is a prime example. They eliminated their treasurer's office in the 90s, thinking that they'd save $1 million. Well, it ended up costing them at least $250 million. And then in Michigan, they also don't have an elected treasurer. So you see where they don't have the leadership they need, they don't get the results that they deserve. And in other cases, when you've got leaders who simply won't do their job, they don't have the political courage, they don't get the results that the American people want. It's time to stop it, and I'm glad the vice president and this task force to eliminate fraud are doing exactly that.
So when you talk about a state treasurer then, the state treasurer can be a tool to stop and block fraud and maybe turn it around the other way and get people arrested and held accountable is what you're saying.
That's exactly right. State treasurers on the front end can make sure that you've got the eligibility, verification, and transparency requirements to stop fraud before it starts. And on the back end, you've got state auditors who have the opportunity to investigate, to audit, and in some cases even prosecute when the fraudsters act. So what we're asking for is to have strong state treasurers and state auditors in your states, but also working with the Trump administration and inspectors general to stop the fraud that's already started.
Doctor, we've seen the numbers out of Minnesota. It's anywhere from 3 to 18 billion. I'm not sure we've ever settled on a number, but it's billions of dollars. 3, 4, 5, maybe 18, 19 billion. California is going to be a staggering amount of fraud. When you look across the country, do you have any idea? Is it $50 billion annually? Is it 100? Some people say it could be $1 trillion. I don't know if that's just being wildly overstated or if that's really a possibility. When you look across this entire nation, what's the level of fraud and how much of that money could we get back?
Well, sadly, that's not overstated. If you listen to Secretary Bessent, the Secretary of the Treasury, he estimates that it's roughly $500 billion that the American people are getting stolen from by fraudsters every year. Now, let's put that into context. $500 billion could be money that could go back to the American people in form of tax relief. It could go to pay down the national debt. It could go to pay for serious, important programs at the state level, like education or infrastructure or other serious needs that the people want. But instead, it's going to fraudsters. It's getting taken. It's being stolen. This is a massive problem. There is a fraud industrial complex that I'm glad the vice president and our state financial officers are going to work together to solve.
We got to get all states on the same page here, Doctor. That's pretty clear because if one state's getting rid of the fraud and another state is not, we still pay federal tax dollars. Anybody that pays $1 in federal taxes is impacted by fraud that goes on across this country, aren't they?
That's exactly right. And every single dollar you pay in taxes that ends up going to fraud is a dollar that you could have used to put gas in your tank, you could have used to put diapers on your baby, you could have used to put food in the mouths of your children, but instead it's going to a fraudster to put wheels on a Benz. It's going to a fraudster to put new roofing on a house. It's going to a fraudster to live the life that you were intended to live in this country. And that's another reason why this has to stop. This is eroding public trust in our American government, and it's dividing our neighbors, and it's something that our state financial officers and our Vice President of the United States are going to stop once and for all.
Wheels on a Benz. Are there any programs that seem more readily available to fraudsters? Are there certain programs that seem more susceptible to the fraud than others?
Yes. Medicaid is at the top of the list. It's an opportunity for people to easily take advantage of it. Unemployment insurance is another one that could be a massive issue. And of course, SNAP benefits. And again, this is because people are taking advantage of the generosity of the American people. You have a lot of these leaders, unfortunately, governors, who expand a lot of these programs, and a lot of the state employees turn the other way in terms of stopping fraud because they don't want to be accused of taking away from folks who really need it. The reality is, when you actually stop these fraudulent programs, you create more opportunity for people to get the benefits they need, but also you have a more efficient government to send the money back to the people so that we can spend it the way that we want. So to be better to stop fraud means you're better to people who need benefits and better to the American taxpayers who pay for them.
There you go, Dr. O.J. Oleka, CEO of the State Financial Officers Foundation. Sir, thank you. Keep working hard. We need to clean this mess up. Thank you.
We'll do it. Thank you.
All right, there you have it. How much fraud is there in your state? I mean, how much? 100 million? 100 billion? The money adds up. 500 billion, the estimate. I'm going to guess that's low. Scott Besson says 500 billion. I'm going to guess that's low. There's fraud everywhere. $1 billion in every state on average. I'm guessing it's higher. Higher. Take a break and be back. Nice to see you today. All right. Quickly with sports and Brock Palmbush.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. In the NBA playoffs yesterday, there were 4 games, all game ones in the first round. Boston, Oklahoma City, and San Antonio won easily. But in the East, 8th-seeded Orlando upset top-seeded Detroit 112-101 on the road to take a 1-0 series lead. 3 more games are tonight. In the NHL playoffs, there were 4 games overall, all game ones in the first round. Montreal, Buffalo, Colorado, and Vegas were victorious. 4 more games are tonight. A full schedule of games in Major League Baseball yesterday. American League winners included New York Yankees, Minnesota, and Seattle. National League winners included Miami, Cincinnati, and Colorado. Matthew Fitzpatrick birdied the first playoff hole to beat world number 1 Scotty Scheffler and take the PGA Tour's RBC Heritage in South Carolina. And Tyler Reddick won the NASCAR Advent Health 400 at Kansas Speedway for his 5th win of the year. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
All right, Brock, thank you for that. Dropping in about an hour, the new episode of Forgotten America with me and Ivy. And Paul Siegert talking about healthcare insurance, health insurance in America. It's eye-opening. Here's a preview.
That's a major problem. You have consumers that are just out there without any good information, and they've got this health insurance card that's like an unlimited Amex, and they're just racking up the charges. And it's all good until the next renewal when it goes up another 10 or 15 or 20% and outpaces their wage increases and all. I mean, it's a disastrous situation.
Yeah,
and the data is getting on top of the data is the answer. That's a
there you have it. Get the information. Get it from Paul Siegert. Look, you want to check that one out. It's on YouTube. It's free to become a subscriber. Please check it out. Be happy you did. Paul Siegert there today. And check out all the episodes, right? You're going to like it. Forgotten America. We don't forget about you. Cash option can save you as much as 90% when you pay your health expenses. 90%. Cheaper than your deductible. You've got to hear this. Again, YouTube. Free to subscribe. Check it out. You'll be glad you did. Send us feedback at stevegruber.com. All right, stevegruber.com. I'll take a break. We'll be back after this.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now.
All right, and welcome back to it as we continue into this next hour of the program here. A lot going on out there. Let's get to it here. 3 big things you need to know this hour. Number 1, anger continues to swell because of the Swalwell fallout. How long was he allowed to continue on in his behavior? Number 2, Joe Manchin rooting for the Republicans to win the midterms in the Senate so that the filibuster continues and survives. Makes little sense to me. Number 3, what's going on in the Persian Gulf? Well, the United States has seized an Iranian ship after opening fire. And Pakistan talks are in doubt. Let's start with this one. CENTCOM confirming that the United States Navy fired into the engine room of an Iranian flag vessel after it allegedly violated a maritime blockade. The command also highlighted a 6-hour standoff with a tanker in the Arabian Sea. U.S. forces operating in the Arabian Sea enforced naval blockade measures against an Iranian flag cargo vessel attempting to sail toward an Iranian port. They said no. No, they said. You've got that going on. Iran says they will retaliate after the United States seized that cargo ship. They call it armed piracy. We'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, will the peace talks happen today in Pakistan as scheduled? Well, nobody knows. Nobody knows because one group of Iranians say, yeah, let's negotiate. The other group, the IRGC, says we will fight you every step of the way. So that's where we are, right? That's where we are. All right, so let's go back to the Eric Swalwell. We'll keep an eye on all that. Not much to report to you at the moment as far as, you know, what's happening in Iran. You're pretty much up to date there. Oil is at $88, up about $5. Actually, $4.64. So that's where it is, up less than $5. Middle East oil pricing cracking under pressure, they say. We'll keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, Bill Maher hammering on Eric Swalwell for just being a creep. Said, I never liked the guy. He's here a couple times. I never liked that guy. Here's what he said.
Speaking of creepy stuff, have you been following the Eric Swalwell case here in California? This is a very prominent...
I think we're all following it.
A very prominent Democrat. I got to say, we had him on a couple of times. Ask my staff. I never liked him. I don't have good gaydar, but I got creepdar. I always thought this guy was a creep. I never liked him. And yet so many Democrats stood by him. And now that we're finding out that it was such an open secret, you know, I hear this so many times. You know, Bill Clinton, it was an open secret in Arkansas. Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein. What is going on here where it takes so long for the open secret to, because I seem to remember that back in the old days, like when JFK was president, we heard, well, the media used to protect politicians and they knew what JFK was doing, but it was just something they didn't report on. Is it any different now? Apparently not.
Yeah. Creepdar. He doesn't have gaydar, he has creepdar. Not a bad thing to have, I suppose. Meanwhile, Democrats continue their unrelenting attacks on President Trump. It's what they've got. Well, what are you going to focus on for policy for the Democrats? It's not a lot to talk about, apparently, because they never talk about policies. They talk about Donald Trump constantly, continuously, day after day, 24 hours a day. He's a fascist. He's, diminished, 25th Amendment, all of that. That's all they talk about. Tim Walz is a mental midget. Nothing to pick on little people. Here, just listen to this, bite 15.
If you're wondering what the hell is wrong with Americans, I hear some version of this every day. Look, I don't really like Trump, and I don't know if he's right, but at least he's willing to try and break things and try and make it better. Now, I know that's dumb as hell, but that's how people are feeling. It's that sentiment that feeds into fascism. And now, it's a threat that we're going to have to contend with, not just in this election, but for years to come. So if we're going to get out of this mess, We have to do more than just push back on all the awful things that people like Donald Trump and like-minded dictators are doing.
Dictators. Donald Trump, the dictator, even though he was elected by the people, has been stopped by the courts a couple of times and respects whatever the courts say. That's a dictator, huh? Tim Walz is a guy who should be considering representation. But he's not the worst of them. U.S. Senator Chris Murphy might be the worst of them. Overseas in Europe, trash-talking America. Happened over the weekend. Listen to this.
I want to bring you greetings as well from a nation that is in crisis. I'm not going to sugarcoat the gravity of what we face right now in the United States. This is the most significant threat to American democracy since the Civil War. Donald Trump in our country is trying to end our democracy.
He is? How?
We are not on the verge of a totalitarian takeover. We are in the middle of it. He is trying to seize control of our courts, of our law enforcement, of our media, of our elections. His goal is oligarchic capture.
Oh. How is he doing all those things, Senator? Can you elaborate? Can you illuminate me on this? Of course, that's all bizarre ramblings. Meanwhile, Republican Representative Eli Crane, he was at a TPUSA event. He actually nailed it. Nailed it. Listen.
We've got some midterms coming up, and I'm going to tell you guys right now something you already know. Republicans are not the solution to all of your problems, but Democrats are pretty much the cause of all of your problems. And if we're willing to work together, if we're willing to look in the mirror every day and say, hey, what are my skill sets? What am I good at? What am I weak at? How can I help in this fight? We can beat these guys. We absolutely can beat them back. You guys know exactly what the Democrats are going to do if they flip the House, right? They're going to impeach the president on day one. And so much of his agenda that's starting to get rolling and rolling and rolling, it's going to come to a grinding halt. And that's why we need the people of this state to step up and get it done.
Yeah, Republicans, that's enough. Republicans are not your problem, or Republicans are not the solution to all your problems, but the Democrats are the cause of all your problems. I thought that was interesting. Let's be honest, getting older can be a little painful. One day you find the next day your knees make a noise. It sounds like opening a bag of chips. If aches, pains, and sore joints are slowing you down, it might be time to try Patriots Relief Intensive Relief Rub. This deep, penetrating rub makes all the difference by targeting those pesky aches and pains. Patriots Relief now offering an amazing special for Gruber listeners. Get 42% off site-wide free shipping when you use promo code Gruber. Call 877-230-1776 or visit patriotsrelief.com. Again, that's 877-230-1776 or patriotsrelief.com. Use a promo code Gruber at checkout. Get 42% off. We have been using these products for years. So is Anthony. So is everybody. Everybody goes, let me try that. They like it. They love it. So check it out. patriotsrelief.com. I'll take a break and be right back. Nice to see you this morning. All right, back to it now as we continue the conversation and dig deeper in everything going on. Appreciate you being here today. My next guest is Bella Ritter, Talent Development and Digital Coordinator for the Institute for Women's Health, currently an MPH candidate at Liberty University. Gen Z women have more opportunity than ever, so why are they so lonely? That's the question today, Bella. Welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, more opportunity, more education, more things going on than ever, and yet they seem isolated and very lonely. Why is that, Bella?
Yeah, just as you said, I mean, it seems that we're more connected digitally rather than in person and through lasting, genuine community. And you can see that in nearly 80% of Gen Z has reported feeling lonely within the past year. And that's staggering and discouraging to me, honestly, very disheartening. And so I'm wondering where and why this paradox has arisen. And I think it is because there's been so much reliance upon media, social media to connect rather than in person through social clubs and associations and the like. And so the reason that I wrote this article is because of a genuine worry. And I do believe that we can course correct, but it comes through intentionality.
Yeah. Get off social media, for example. Do something with your life. Join a club. Participate in sports. What's your plan to? And it's not just women, is it? I mean, Gen Z in general. They're more connected and less connected all at the same time, aren't they?
Yes. Yes, I agree. This includes men as well. I think both genders have a responsibility to uphold and cultivate community. And I think we've lost that because we've become way too comfortable on social media. Historically, you can see that women were especially pillars of community. I mean, they were the ones to build up neighborhood communities and associations, social clubs, and social movements, in fact. And I believe that we've lost that. In pursuit of individual opportunities. And while those are important, we shouldn't neglect social health and community.
Yeah. So how do we get back to connecting to the world? I mean, we've got these devices in our hand 24 hours a day. Most people do. I mean, the first thing they look at when they get up, last thing they look at before they go to bed. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we've short-circuited our brains. Maybe we've short-circuited our social lives. Maybe we've short-circuited Western society. What are your thoughts?
Yes, that's very true. I think we've become so used to that being a part of our daily lives. And so I do think there's been a sort of revival and a waking up to see that, hey, we've lost this vital aspect of our lives, which is community. And you can see that even in church attendance these days. Church attendance is rising. And while that is just one form of community, I think that that's representative in other areas as well, not just religion. I think Gen Z is definitely waking up to the fact that we really want friendships and we want lasting community. And so it does require risk of discomfort and perhaps risk of rejection, and maybe that relationship doesn't work out. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't risk meeting somebody new and trying something out. And like you said, joining a social club, something new that could shake things up a little bit. I think we've become really too comfortable in our lives.
Yeah, only 17% say they feel deeply connected to a community. 70% of those people under 30 feel a deep connection to a community of some sort. I'll give you the last word here. We've got to find a solution here, because it creates problems long-term for our society. The destruction of the family, the increase in loneliness, mortality rates increase, all of it, Bella. Last word to you.
Yes, I would just encourage my generation to course correct, to take that step, to risk discomfort, to do something new, because that does create community. And because we've been missing that so much, I think it's time to change the path forward for our generation and for the future generations ahead.
Greatly appreciate you being here. It's time to connect again. Get off the phones, make real connections with real people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a real problem, my friends. Not connecting. And Anthony, pull up Bite 5 here, because there are threats every day out there in the internet, and I thought this was an interesting and fun video, and I'd like you to hear it. Here it is.
Hey, kiddo, it's about time for bed, okay?
Okay.
Well, remember,
There's a box in the corner over there with all the pornographic material that's ever been made in the world, even the really weird stuff that could scar you for life. I'm trusting you not to look in there, okay?
Okay.
Feelings are for losers. Oh, and this guy's gonna be in your corner all night, just randomly spewing out hateful things. Just ignore him, okay? While I'm thinking of it, there's an order form on your desk where you can purchase illegal drugs. The mean girls from your school are gonna be standing there talking about you all night. And this Russian hacker's gonna keep asking for your password.
I'm not hacker. Amazon customer service.
Just need you to ignore him, okay?
Love you, buddy. We ask too much of our kids when we give them a smartphone. Let's change the norm. Together.
Maybe we go around the room and share social security numbers.
Come on, that was a fun video, wasn't it?
That was great. Spot on.
Exactly. Not hacker, Amazon customer service. When you have kids, Anthony, you gonna let them have smartphones?
No way.
I mean, at some point, don't you? Or not?
A flip phone
Till they're 25?
Yeah. Until they're adults.
Yeah, till they're 25. Flip phones for everybody. You know, the world was a better place before we had all this connectivity. I mean, there you heard it from Bella. You've got the depression, you've got the disconnect, you've got the loneliness. Then you've got, you know, the kids that are subjected to all these threats. Real threats. Real problems. Anyhow, send me an email. Love to hear from you. SteveGruber.com, SteveGruber.com. Always want to hear from you. We'll take a break and be back after this. You know, it was snowing here yesterday, and it was 25 degrees this morning. We cut it out. We've had enough of this. We've seen the flowers. We've seen all the beauty of spring. The grass is green. We got 27 inches of rain, so everything got, you know, a big drink and too much water in some places. I said to Ivy yesterday, the rivers are not going down particularly well. But then it's 25 degrees this morning. Cut it out. Okay, look. I love winter. I love snow. I love spring, so let's get to it. All right, let's get to it. By any metric, the Green New Deal has been a failure on an epic scale. I don't care how you measure it. The Green New Deal has failed people. Listen to this.
The United States produces more oil than we consume. We're a net exporter of oil to the world, and we're by far and away the world's largest net exporter of natural gas. We definitely want energy from everywhere we can get it. We're driving nuclear forward in the Trump administration. But in the last 20 years, the world spent $10 trillion on wind, solar, and batteries. It hasn't made it to 3% of global energy, and it's just driven up prices.
$10 trillion on wind, solar, and what did he say? Whatever he said. Batteries. And it doesn't cover 3% of the world's energy? No. There's no energy density Hydrocarbons have energy density. One unit moves a lot of stuff, be it locomotives or motor vehicles or whatever it is. One unit of hydrocarbons moves a lot of stuff around, which is pretty important. Wind, not going to power you. Now, look, do I think that solar panels in a house? Potentially, as long as it's not an eyesore. Some houses are able to pull it off. Others, I mean, it's just ugly. Got this big, solar thing in the yard. Looks like hell. But if it can power your house, it's one thing. But at scale, it doesn't work. That's my point. At scale, it does not work. All right, coming up after the break, House Appropriations Chair Ann Bolin will be here from Brighton Township. We were in Brighton over the weekend. Really enjoyed it, by the way. And then Ivy will be here to tell us about her escapades from the weekend. It's all coming up. All right, back to it now as we jump in with State Representative Ann Bolin from Brighton Township. By the way, I was in Brighton over the weekend. Loved it. For those of you keeping score at home, we snuck out of the cave and got over to Brighton, downtown Brighton. Boy, is it a booming place right now. I bet Ann knows that. Ann, welcome back to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Brighton was booming on Friday night. I mean, boom. The weather was great.
Yeah.
It was.
Yep. Well, you're welcome back anytime.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, it was cool. I don't know that I'd ever been there. had a fire pit on the river and some really neat things going on. And I thought, wow, what a great place. And everybody was in such a good mood. All sorts of restaurants and opportunities. It was hopping. It was good stuff. All right, let's talk about the budget plan put forth by the governor, $88 billion. Seems to be a bit much to me, but maybe I'm wrong. This is, I thought we were going in the right direction. Now I feel like that she's pushing it in the wrong direction. It's $30 billion more than North Carolina and Georgia, basically states similar size, and more than Pennsylvania by tens of billions of dollars. That's a bigger state than Michigan. Where do they spend all this money, Ann?
Well, they spend a lot of money on pork projects, a lot of money on programs that are just not sustainable, a lot for Lansing insiders, and our budget plan calls for minimizing that and working towards eliminating that. It's $75.8 billion plan is proposed, nearly $600 million in savings to the general fund. I think it's important to note that the general fund just makes up really a small portion, less than a quarter of the state budget. Most of it are restricted funds and federal funds that pass through. But our plan doesn't call for increases in taxes and fees, nor does it call for draining the rainy day fund. We, in fact, put money into the rainy day fund, $300 million, because we know that you never know when tough times are going to be ahead of us. And we need to do all we can to make sure communities like Brighton can continue to thrive.
Yeah, so how do you carve some of this out of here? Look, Matt Hall has done I think an incredible job keeping everything basically in check and making sure the spending doesn't get worse. And you guys were able to claw back, $2 or $3 billion. This goes in the absolute wrong direction. We need to go back to about $60 billion. Honestly, we need to go back to COVID levels, right? But we're bankrupt. Michigan owes.
We're moving in that direction, though, Steve. We really are.
But here's the thing: moving in that direction is not good enough. If I might be so bold, it's not good enough for the United States of America. It's not good. I mean, we're $150 trillion in debt at the federal level. They can tell you $40 trillion, but unfunded liabilities take that times 4. Same thing's true in Michigan. We're $150 billion in debt or more. Nobody ever talks about it. I mean, that's the actual real debt the state faces when it comes to unfunded liabilities and so forth. So going in the right direction is nice, and I applaud that, but it's not enough. We're going bankrupt
it may not be
here.
enough. But the only thing is that, you have to understand that we are, in split government. We have a Democratic governor, Democrat Senate. And to say that we have actually been able to reduce the budget, find over $6 billion worth of waste, fraud, and abuse, and actually make movement towards removing that. Last year we removed 2,000 ghost employees. This year our budget calls for another 3,000, while also implementing the work requirements and reducing that SNAP error rate. That will go a long way, investing in public safety, education, making sure there's parity for public schools and non-parity public schools where we can. So, we suffered under the, Democratic trifecta. And I do think that we are moving in the right direction. We're going to be relentless about it, and we're going to continue into the next term. We need a Republican governor and a Republican Senate to help us do that.
Yeah, because if you don't get it, right, if the midterms don't go well, where do we end up here? We're already broke, as I just pointed out. I mean, and if it doesn't go well, at some point you become insolvent at this rate, don't you?
Well, absolutely. But I think people have to understand that the government is not the solution. And also, government has no money of its own. And so people like you helping us to make sure that we're bringing the public up to speed with what we're doing, getting them on board and understanding how deep the federal government and state government are into your pockets. And we're trying to keep the money in your pocket, not take it out. So
yeah, government is absolutely, you're right about that. Government is absolutely not the solution. Sounds like something Ronald Reagan would say, but it's exactly right. Government is not the solution. Government is the problem, but they gobble up our money. It's not like they call me and ask, hey, April 15th come up. Do you mind if I take your money? They don't ask, they just take, right?
Yeah, I think that if people literally had to write their own check for their income tax, their property tax, instead of out of their mortgage payment, people would understand just how deep into the pockets the government is. And, when you're just taking little by little every paycheck or something. Yes, it absolutely adds up, but people don't really see black and white necessarily just how much it adds up to. And we're trying to show that, display that. We're looking at making healthcare more affordable, cutting property taxes, creating a strong business climate, making sure our kids are educated, they can read and write when they get out of school. These are the things that are going to propel us forward and return us to prosperity.
You know, you said something there, Ann. It's not a bad idea. If you could peel out those tax payments out of the mortgage payments, so it isn't just hidden in there, right? Just people are oblivious to it. And all of a sudden you realize you're paying $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a year, or whatever your property tax is, right? Man, that'd be an eye-opening little event, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. You know, I often ask when people talk about these increases, it's only X amount of dollars, and I convert it into your mortgage payment. And I ask people, if you were able to, and you had the choice to increase your mortgage so that your payment would be $10 more a month, $20 a month more, people usually say, no, we're strapped as it is. We mortgaged as much as we possibly can. And you know, I look at that with our family budget. I've tried to teach my kids that, you know, really look at it where it's taken away. Where are your priorities? You know, people want shelter. They want food. They want a job. These are things that people want to do independently. They don't want to depend on government. And we need to make sure we're creating the climate that does what's best for people.
Ann Boland, I appreciate all you're doing. It's not easy. I wouldn't envy your position, but you did ask for it. You did run for it. You know, as they say,
Thank you.
Careful what you wish for.
That's right.
But I get it. It's tough, but it's across the board. There's only like 3 states that aren't broke, if it's even that anymore. I mean, everybody just keeps spending money. Oh, it'll just the gravy train will continue forever. No, it won't continue forever. We need to be sober about this. Anyhow, I'll give you the last word.
Well, I appreciate it. No, we don't print money here in Michigan, and just, you know, we're going to work hard on behalf of the taxpayers to make sure that they have their needs are taken care of. We're prioritizing them over state government and Lansing insiders.
Ann Boland, greatly appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Come back to Brighton anytime.
Oh, we love it. We might be back Friday. We really did enjoy it. All right. Ivy thought this town is hopping. I don't know if I've ever been to downtown Brighton. I've been by Brighton a million times, been to the main, you know, the business section, if you will, but Old Town or whatever you would call it, the old downtown, whatever it is. Good stuff. Out exploring a little bit on Friday. We said, where do you want to go? I don't know. Here's a pin on the map. Boom, and away we went. We'll get Ivy's take on all of it straight ahead. Good to see you. All right, back to it. And Ivy stepping back into the hot seat. Ivy, glad to have you back.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
All right. So, what's on your mind?
You played a bite earlier, a sound bite, and it really hit home for me. I believe it's bite 5, correct?
It is, if you're talking about the internet bite, yeah.
Yeah, let's hear that.
Hey, kiddo, it's about time for bed, okay?
Okay.
Well, remember, there's a box in the corner over there with all the pornographic material that's ever been made in the world, even the really weird stuff that could scar you for life. I'm trusting you not to look in there, okay?
Okay.
Feelings are for losers.
Oh, and this guy's gonna be in your corner all night, just randomly spewing out hateful things. Just ignore him, okay? While I'm thinking of it, there's an order form on your desk where you can purchase illegal drugs. The mean girls from your school are gonna be standing there talking about you all night. And this Russian hacker's gonna keep asking for your password.
I'm not hacker. Amazon customer service.
Just needs you to ignore him, okay?
Love you, buddy. We ask too much of our kids when we give them a smartphone. Let's change the norm. Together.
Maybe we go around the room and share social security numbers.
You know, I could not have put that together better.
I thought it was,
the reality is, this is what the kind of responsibility that we give our kids when we hand them a supercomputer. If you look around today, I bet every middle schooler will have an iPhone or an Android, but most of them will have an iPhone.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of parents struggle with, they don't even know how to put on parental, limitations, parental restrictions and things like that. And there's, I'm sure, ways to get around these things. And if it's through, the computer, they have a laptop or something like that as well. This world that we live in has so much access to bad things that children should not be, that should not have access to. And not only that, you think about back in the day, if you will, like we didn't grow up with cell phones. I didn't grow up with a cell phone.
Right.
You might have an argument with a friend, or there's something at school, and then you go home for the weekend and you don't think about it again. Now it's like the life that is at school, say there's some sort of issue. It's like it lives on every second of every day.
You get no break, like I said.
There's no break.
The one thing there in the video, the mean girls from school, because they're talking about you all night because they're
That's what I mean.
Sending nasty grams and so on and so forth. And how many suicides, for example, do we have to hear about before we get it? I mean, you're pestered, you're picked at, you're bullied. And look, I'm not really, bully I think is overstated as far as that goes, but
right.
But just the constant picking and the derision and the tearing people down, and there's no break, no place to take a breath.
It's also young women who are looking maybe on Instagram and they see all these perfect pictures that it seems like maybe someone has an incredible life. You didn't know that it took them all day to create this image of something that isn't real a lot of the time. And I just don't think it's not a healthy environment for our kids. And it really begs to question, like, have we led our kids astray in allowing them to have access to this online world so early? And how do we reel it back? I know.
There's the question. How do you get it back?
Mm-hmm.
Who are we talking to? Oh, the parenting expert, right? Who's coming up on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Who said, part of the problem of parenting is parents are intimidated by their kids.
Yeah.
So, all right, Johnny, we're going to take the cell phone away. And we get pushback from our teenager, and you're like, yeah, so what?
Yeah.
And he's a heck of a negotiator. So was I at his age. I negotiate, boom, boom, boom.
That's
boom,
what kids are. They're great salespeople, right?
Yeah, push.
They'll be consistently begging you for something, whether it's more access on their phone or whatever. And then I feel badly for parents sometimes because it's like, one, they're so busy with work, life, everything else. And then kids are so busy too. Sometimes you just give in to those things. And it's not necessarily the best approach to take. But my heart does go out to parents sometimes. But yes, standing up and just saying no is a lost art, it seems, amongst parents. What do you think, Steve?
I think that parents have a big problem with it. Well, the parenting expert that we're going to have on here said one of the problems with obesity is because parents are letting 12-year-olds choose what's for dinner. When we were kids growing up, and you had the same experience I did,
oh boy,
mom put out whatever's for dinner. Maybe she made it, maybe she picked it up somewhere, doesn't matter. But here's what's for dinner, right?
Well,
and then the kids go, well, I don't want that. And so dad's on the phone calling in a pizza order. My mom was not calling in a pizza order because I didn't like what she put on the table. It was tuna noodle casserole, and you were going to like it. And that's all there is to it.
Grubhub or whatever, you have your meals delivered or whatever it is. But I just recall growing up. If I didn't eat everything on my plate, I sat there all night long until it was gone.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's, fair or not is to be questioned. But
the making me eat the tuna noodle casserole that my mother created, certainly not fair. My mother was a lot of wonderful things. A cook she was not. She could burn water. So was that fair? Fair wasn't part of the equation. Fair wasn't something they were asking about.
Right.
Here's what's for dinner. You don't like it? Psh, too bad.
Well, it's really scary too how accessible like pornography is for kids. You might do something innocent like, what are boobs? You know what I mean? Like kids are curious, like, what does this mean? And then they have all of a sudden it's like they do this Google search and they're like, oh my gosh. And then, they go down this rabbit hole of seeing pornography online and being really accessible. It's not like there's some, validation of identification when you're online. So that's particularly scary. Or like forums, like secret forums where people go, like Snapchat is one, for instance, where, you can send messages to your friends and then those messages disappear. You can send images.
What's your advice for parents?
Talk to your kids about safety online. Tell them that there are a lot of predators out there pretending to be other kids. And accessibility to pornography, just do your research. Make sure that you're limiting the access for your kids. Get smart about it.
Don't be lazy.
Yeah.
You can ask AI. It'll design a plan for you. See, there's where AI can help you fight AI. It's weird.
Maybe.
Love you, Ivy.
Love you.
All right. We'll take a break. Final thoughts after this. All right, well, we'll keep an eye on what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz. Checking right now on the latest. Oil prices, staying right around $88. Don't seem to be moving much. They came up about $4.50, seem to be stuck right there. Nobody seems to be too concerned about it. The futures market looking pretty decent. It's going to be up a little bit to start the day, maybe 100 points. Actually, it's ranging from up 200 to down 200. Just depends on where you end up, right? That's where it is. Up 2, down 2, up 2, down 2. So kind of in the middle. Not going to be a big day either way. And silver finally got a little bit warmer. I was watching silver price. Remember, they went to 120. Got to about $80 here. So it's up from where it's been. Got to about $80. Hasn't been there, in a month. Hasn't been there in a month. It did, just over a month ago, it hit 93. I guess that was late February. Hit 93, and then it kind of settled into the 80s. Then it came all the way down to $67 late March. But now it's back up to about 80, so we'll see where it ends up. It would be nice if it went back to 120, wouldn't it? That'd be all right. Be all right with me, tell you that. Gold at $4,800, down from its all-time highs, but not too bad. Over the 30 days, gold has gone up 8%. Over a year, 43%. 5 years, 165%. So it's sitting there pretty good. Overall, I just keep an eye on all these things all the time. 14% silver is up 14% in 30 days, 63% in 6 months. All right, there you have it. Greatly appreciate you being here. Make sure you can send me an email, stevegruber.com. Don't forget, coming up in 4 minutes' time, a new episode of Forgotten America, the podcast with Paul Seegert. You're going to know everything about the insurance industry when it comes to your health insurance. This is a fascinating podcast. It's free right there on YouTube. Click that QR code, and away you go. Free to subscribe, and you'll be better educated when you do. Great stuff there. You're going to enjoy it, all right? Fight's a good fight. Keep the faith. God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber. This is Daybreak. And remember, only you can save America.